Raise awareness on the menace of bushfires and galvanize action to eliminate the phenomenon which has had disastrous consequences on the lives and livelihoods of communities, the environment and biodiversity. Momodu Jallo reports.
Annually, to highlight the effects of this phenomenon on local communities, the environment and biodiversity. Annually, large swathes of forests are set ablaze by individuals for various reasons. And this practice, officials say, is unsustainable, especially at a time when demand for forests and forest resources are extremely high. This year, the day has taken a new dimension as the Agency for the Development of Women and Children at Work, a Kerewan-based NGO through its Sustainable Agriculture and Environmental Governance Initiative, has partnered with the Department of Forestry to commemorate the day in Pakaliba, Jara East. The event brought together Forestry Department officials, local communities and other stakeholders to sensitize people about the consequences of the practice on the theme, Bushfire, the crying voice of the forest. Ansumana Kanaji, the chief of Jara East, bemoaned the practice, citing the negative consequences bushfires have on local communities. He acknowledged that most of the perpetrators go unpunished, as they are often still led by the very communities they wreaked havoc on. Chief Kanaji predicted that if the trend continues, this could have adverse effects for the future of the country. Lankinde of the Ministry of Agriculture harped on the implications of bushfires on agriculture and food sustainability. A small fire started by someone, he said, could easily spread out of control, destroying thousands of hectares of forest, thus exposing the soil to wind and water erosion. Besides, most of the vegetative cover, he continued, provide valuable grazing grounds for livestock, which suffered drastically as a result of bush burning. Kinte therefore called for concerted efforts to stop bushfires, urging communities to respond urgently to put out any outbreak before it spreads. The Executive Director of ADWAC, Mam Samba Diouf, said this intervention by his agency is part of a holistic approach to national development and community empowerment.
We know that you cannot talk about sustainable food security if the environment is not, it's not taken care of. Okay, you cannot also talk about environmental management if you are not also concerned about the effect of man-made actions on the environment, for example, bushfire. So, like I said, we look at development from a very holistic perspective, and that is why we look at all aspects. I mean, when you talk about food security, we look at management of food, we look at the effects and impact of other activities that have, that impacts on food security.
Sambunget, the acting director of forestry, also agreed that such an approach is in line with his department's strategy of preserving and protecting forests.
The introduction of participatory forest management is also an essential part of our sectoral strategy, aiming at involving the rural communities in forest protection and management. The participatory forest management strategy ultimately aims at transferring ownership of forest resources to the local population.
The event also witnessed the presentation of 100 bicycles, 3 motorbikes and a host of other tools to the department by ADWAC. This, its executive director explained, will empower the forestry department to respond to the challenges it faces.
For foresters to be able to respond, quickly to fires in the bush and stuff like that. So there was one thing that we realized was an important area that we can work in terms of supporting the department. We have also, as part of our strategy, worked with the forest staff on the ground to set up inter-village committees. And the idea behind this is that these people are supposed to be monitoring the forest cover that they share. And we believe that communication is very important. By communication here, we are talking about being able to move from one end to the other.
Receiving the items on behalf of the department, Sambunget was grateful, saying it would greatly enhance their operational capabilities.
But this time around, ADWAC coming on board with such a great force is something really to be commended. And I want to thank the director, the executive director, Mr. Mamsamba, and also the Spanish organization for what I call, a wonderful gesture. And I think I have to assure him also that the equipment presented or donated here will be put into very good use.
The partnership between the Department of Forestry and ADWAC, it is expected, will drastically reduce bushfires throughout the country, as it will now make it easier to police forests and engage communities. Momodu Jallo, GRTS.
Well, time now to take our first break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the international news. Stay tuned in.
Lucozade Energy, energizing Gambia.
Gambia, this is Peter Morgan from Morgan Heritage talking to you. We're here in Gambia. We're going to be at the celebration tonight, July 22nd Square in Banjul. Everyone come on out, full joy the occasion. It's celebrating 48 years of independence of the Gambia. Seeing give thanks to His Excellency, President Jammeh, for putting on a great show tonight for the massive. So everyone come on out and full joy. It's free of cost. Just bring yourself with a good heart and prepare to have a good time. See? July 22nd Square tonight. Be there.
More love, more life, one blood, one love, that is what we need, yeah. What's up, Gambia? This is a girl, Tenza, the boss lady. And tonight I'll be live at July 22nd Square alongside Peter Morgan, celebrating Gambia's 48th independence anniversary. You don't know, enough respect to His Excellency. You don't know, enough respect to the whole Gambian vibes. Make sure you come out and enjoy the vibes tonight. We're going to have enough dancehall and reggae vibes, celebrating with the people. Make sure you come out, bring your friend, bring your family. One love, Tenza said that.
Welcome back to the news. 7 French tourists have been kidnapped on Tuesday in Cameroon along the border with Nigeria. The tourists were returning from a visit to Waza Natural Park when unidentified gunmen captured them, and thousands stormed the Guinean capital Conakry, calling for free and fair legislative elections. For more on these and other stories, we turn to the African News Roundup by CFI.
7 French tourists were kidnapped on Tuesday in the far north of Cameroon in the Didanga locality on the border with Nigeria. 3 adults and 4 children were reportedly taken by unidentified men. According to a source close to the French embassy, the tourists were returning from a visit to Waza Natural Park. Cameroonian security forces have begun looking for the kidnappers. French President François Hollande has confirmed the report. Thousands of Ghanaians took to the streets of the capital Conakry on Monday in protest calling for free and fair legislative elections. Opposition leaders led the march, which ended with a large rally at the People's Palace. The Minister of Free Expression and Human Rights took part in the demonstration.
The freedom to demonstrate must not be confused with smashing things and attacking state buildings. You saw that on the streets, things generally went well. There were some rough moments. We are here to make sure this country goes forward in peace and without violence.
There was a heavy police presence for the demonstration, but there were no reports of violence. Tunisia's Prime Minister Hamadi Jabali and leaders from political parties were unable to reach an agreement to form a government. Jabali's proposals for a non-partisan government were rejected by his own ruling Ennahda party. Despite the failure of talks, Jabali said he would not resign. A delegation from the United States met with Mali's interim president Diankunda Traoré. The U.S. has been providing logistical support for Franco-African forces in the north of the country. Senator Christopher Coons, the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Subcommittee, said the U.S. would resume direct support for Mali's military, but only after the country restores full democracy.
The crucial pre-trial hearing of former Ivorian President Laurent Gbagbo began Tuesday at the International Criminal Court in The Hague. The pre-trial hearing has 10 days to present a case of crimes against humanity, which if confirmed will lead to a full trial. As we hear in this report, prosecution has decided to focus on 4 main incidents.
Laurent Gbagbo's crucial pre-trial hearing began Tuesday at the International Criminal Court in The Hague. The pre-trial hearing has 10 days to present a case for crimes against humanity, which, if confirmed,